As you must have read from the title, today I'll be telling you the story of Kurma Avatar. Kurma Avatar is said to be the only avatar which brought the Devas and the Asuras together. So before we start, smash that like button and subscribe. This is going to be a really interesting story, so keep your ears open. Now let's go. Kurma Avatar, Twists and Turns. Sage Durvasa was known for his irrationally excessive temper. He was one of the most feared rishis. He would dole out curses for the flimmiest of reasons and sometimes for no reason at all. If anyone got on his wrong side and offended him in the tiniest possible way, he would curse them right there and then. It made him a tough person to be with. Despite being aware of his own unpleasant attitude, Durvasa did nothing to curb his anger. In fact, he would go around testing people's patience by deliberately being mean and rude to them just to see how they would react. Then there was the arrogant Indra. As the king of the gods, he thought highly of himself. Fortunately, unlike Durvasa, Indra tried to control his arrogance. Unfortunately, he did it at the wrong time and in the wrong manner. What do you think happens when uncontrollable anger and arrogance clash? The god has to intervene himself, like Lord Vishnu did when he appeared as a tortoise. The second avatar of Vishnu, Kurma, is known to be the only avatar which brought the Asuras and Devas together, working towards achieving a common goal. The incident where Vishnu reincarnates himself as a tortoise Kurma is also popularly known as the Samudra Manthan. This is also one of the few events where multiple Vishnu avatars make an appearance. Mohini and Dhanvantri, whose names are included in the longer list of the 24 Vishnu avatars, star in this story. The story goes that Rishi Durvasa was strolling across the world when he came across Lord Indra. He gifted him a garland of the sweetest smelling flowers that were known to remain fresh forever. Indra chose this day of all days to put up a show of humility. Thank you for your gift, but I am the king of gods. It is not befitting my position to walk around with a garland around my neck. It will look better on my beloved elephant Airavata instead. Indra said and put the garland around the elephant's neck. The excessively sweet aroma of the flowers was unbearable for the elephant. The poor animal tossed the garland off with a flick of his trunk and trampled on it. A livid Durvasa stomped his feet and let loose his fury on Indra. Just as the garland has been destroyed, your power and your kingdom too will be smashed to nothingness. Realizing his mistake, Indra pleaded some more for forgiveness, but Durvasa wasn't one to take back his curse. He shook his head and walked away saying, "You have to suffer the consequences of your actions." Indra instantly felt his energy levels dipping. Not only him, the other Devas too felt the impact of Durvasa's curse. They feared that the Asuras, who they were forever warring with, would become stronger and win the battles. Faced with the possibility of imminent defeat, the Devas turned to Lord Brahma. "Save us, Lord!" they cried in unison. Lord Brahma pondered before speaking. "You must consult Lord Vishnu, for he is the preserver. He will know what to do and how to protect the power of the gods." The Devas rushed to meet Lord Vishnu, who was already aware of the happenings. "Lord, save us," the gods pleaded. "We are losing all our strength. At this rate, we'll be defeated and banished from our own lands." Lord Vishnu smiled at the gods. "Well, there is a solution, one which you may not like." "What is it, Lord? Why do you scare us even more?" the Devas said. "It involves coming to a compromise with the Asuras. Would you be willing to do that?" Lord Vishnu asked. compromise? The gods repeated. With the Asuras? How is that even possible? Well, they are your cousins after all. You only have to sit down with them and explain how this benefits them too. Benefits them? The gods were even more confused than before. Who was Lord Vishnu helping? Them or their foes? They exchanged glances of alarm and anxiety. You have to convince them about it. Does not mean it will necessarily happen that way, Vishnu added. The gods looked at each other and then turned to Lord Vishnu. Oh Lord, we are thoroughly confused. What exactly do we have to do, and why will the Asuras help us when we are perpetually fighting each other? Lord Vishnu smiled and began explaining the task in detail. You will need to churn the ocean for Amrit. Use Mount Mandara as a stick and Vasuki, the snake god, as the tugging rope for the task. Only a drop of Amrit, the sweet nectar of life and immortality, is enough to infuse you with renowned vigor and strength. To regain control of your respective kingdoms, it is in your interest to get the Asuras to work with you in harmony and complete the task as soon as possible. But if we do give them the nectar, the Asuras too will become strong and easily defeat us. Lord Vishnu smiled again. The nectar is not for the Asuras. You only have to get them believe that it is. Tell them how this is good for of everyone. Convince them that the nectar that comes from the churning of the ocean will strengthen all of you. Only then will they agree to help. But how will we stop them from consuming the nectar once it comes out from the ocean? Surely we can't tell them later that we won't give it to you now. That too after we are taken their help in churning the ocean. You leave that to me, Lord Vishnu said. The gods were about to leave when they were stopped by Vishnu's word. But Lord Vishnu paused till he had everyone's undivided attention. You have to assure me that apart from the nectar, you will not stake claim over anything else that is thrown up from the ocean. Yes, O Lord, we will only accept to partake the Amrit. Very well then, go and get the Asuras to help you with this task. Remember, do not let them get even the slightest hint of your true intentions, or they will never agree. The gods nodded in understanding and immediately left to meet with the Asuras. Their attempts at pursuing the Asuras were successful. Soon they were all standing along the shore with Mount Mandara and snake god Vasuki alongside them. They placed Mandara in the water as the churning stick and wound Vasuki around it. Lord Vishnu told the gods to take Vasuki's head and the Asuras to take the tail end. Suspecting foul play, the Asuras refused. He will squish us all to death instantly with the weight of his body. Is that your grand plan? No, we will take the head, they said, and marched off to the other end of the snake rope. The gods quietly took the tail end. The churning began with full enthusiasm. Each of the gods and Asuras put in all their might, tugging at their end of the rope. With no solid base to hold it up, Mandara soon began to sink in the water. Lord Vishnu now came to rescue in the form of a giant tortoise. He held up the mountain on his smooth, rounded back. To help with the churning, he even began to twist his tortoise body from side to side. The gods and the Asuras too began churning faster, but soon grew tired. The hot, humid air from Vasuki's breath was sapping their energy. Meanwhile, the fresh, recovering breeze from the ocean infused the gods with new vigor. After some time, objects began to appear from the ocean. First came Hala Hala, which almost suffocated them all. But Lord Shiva came to their rescue and gulped the poison. The air immediately became breathable again. The gods and the Asuras resumed their churning. More things came up soon, but the gods remembered their resolve to not claim any for themselves. Their only interest lay in the nectar of life, the Amrit. The churning continued and more valuables were thrown up. Finally, after a long wait, came out Dhanvantri with the jar of Amrit in his hands. The Asuras promptly dropped their rope and ran to snatch it from his hands. A battle ensued among the Asuras as to who would take the nectar first. I will consume it first, since I am the eldest, said one. This is not about who was born first. I will consume it first because I saw it first, countered another. What logic is that? We have a right to drink it too. Why should you drink it first? Said a third. Seeing the infighting, the gods turned to Lord Vishnu again. Do something, Lord. At this rate, the Asuras will consume all the Amrit. If that happens, we are doomed. Pleased with the good behavior of the gods and how they honored his instruction, Lord Vishnu agreed and took on the form of a beautiful maiden, Mohini. She enamored the Asuras with her beauty and convinced them to allow her to distribute the Amrit equally. Why don't you all stand in a row, and I shall ensure equal distribution for all. The Asuras nodded and stood in a single row. The gods lined up in another row. It was the gods who first suggested this, so let me give them a little to keep them quiet. Then the rest of it is for all of you, she said to the Asuras with a wicked wink, and they readily agreed. She began distributing the Amrit to the gods, and when it was over, quickly disappeared. Realizing that they had been tricked, the Asuras attacked the gods, but were easily defeated. The gods got back their respective kingdoms and peace reigned over the world again. The end. So this was a nice story, and yes, I still had a bit of maybe mistakes, but I tried my best to do this. It is a really fun story. Kurma is said to be is the only avatar, and it was really fun to read this out too. If you did enjoy this video, smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you subscribe to my channel, you will get more like this. So stay tuned and